Hello and welcome to 5MI Weekly. If you're interested in orgasms, then you're in the right place. Because today, I'll be talking about the 5 steps towards having an orgasm. First step towards having an orgasm is less of a step per se and more of a soapbox. It's me getting on top of one of my many personal soapboxes and preaching a video like the current one I'm making should not be necessary. By adulthood, we all should know what brings us pleasure. And indeed, our 21st century is pretty good with allowing us to explore what brings us pleasure when it's associated with physiological drives like eating, drinking, and sleeping. But when pleasure is associated with the physiological drive of sex, our society becomes wildly schizophrenic. It allows sexual pleasure to be explored in the virtual worlds of the arts, media, and advertising, but suppresses sexual pleasure in the real worlds of learning, understanding, and education. Which brings me to the real first step towards having an orgasm. The first step towards having an orgasm is unsuppressing pleasure when it comes to learning, understanding, and education. Let's begin this unsuppressing by simply defining what an orgasm is and what an orgasm is not. An orgasm is a release of neuromuscular tension. Because both the central and peripheral nervous systems are involved in controlling the release of this tension, orgasms can and often do occur outside of a person's control. On a minuscule scale, an orgasm may be compared to the effects of a massage. Whereas a massage releases tension within particular muscular groups of the body, an orgasm has the potential to release tension throughout muscular areas of the body. An orgasm is measurable. Subjectively, an orgasm can be measured using a Likert scale. For example, subsequent to your next orgasm, you may ask yourself, on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 equaling feeling nothing, and 5 equaling feeling the greatest pleasure anyone or anything has ever experienced in the history of the world,
I'll have what she's
how would
having.
you rate your orgasm? Most people rate their orgasms as being 3s, 4s, or 5s on this Likert scale. Interestingly, though, these ratings vary from one orgasm to the next. This subjective variability may be explained by the objective aspects of an orgasm. The objective aspects of an orgasm may be measured by plethysmography. Plethysmography measures blood and oxygen flows to parts of the body, including breasts, skin, various muscle structures, bladder, rectum, external sex organs, and the lungs, and includes measurements of a person's pulse and blood pressure. Generally speaking, as plethysmography measures increase, that is, showing more tension buildup and therefore greater potential for its release, so too do subjective ratings of pleasure increase. An orgasm is a brain experience. Consistent with the subjective and objective measures of an orgasm, neuroimaging techniques show extensive regions of the brain and brainstem being active during orgasms, including the insular cortex, temporal cortex, limbic system, nucleus accumbens, basal ganglia, superior parietal cortex, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and cerebellum. An orgasm is not an ejaculation. Since an orgasm and an ejaculation being the same thing is one of the biggest myths associated with the sexual response cycle, maybe I should repeat this. An orgasm is not an ejaculation! Although they most often occur near one another in time, an orgasm and an ejaculation are in fact two different physiological responses. There's no more pleasure associated with ejaculating than there is urinating. An ejaculation simply involves the emission of fluid from the body. This fluid may be semen from the seminal vesicles and prostate gland, or a hormonal-based fluid from the vestibular glands. Now that you know what an orgasm is and what it is not, you're ready for the second step towards having an orgasm. But before sharing that second step, let's let this definition of orgasm set in for a bit. I'll see you next week for the second step towards having an orgasm, when we'll be talking about the most common factors associated with inhibiting as well as facilitating orgasms.